Large intestine. It is the last portion of the digestive tract. No digestion occurs in the large intestine. In the large intestine, there is absorption of water about 1 liter per day and salts from feces which are undigested and unabsorbed food. The bacteria produce vitamin K and B, the secretion of the mucus which causes lubrication of the feces. Contractions moves the feces along large intestine and rectum to be expelled out of the anal canal. When we see the accessory digestive organs, these are two. First is pancreas and second one is liver. The pancreas, the exocrine portion, produces digestive enzymes, bicarbonates, etc. The liver produces bile, stores glycogen, interconverts nutrients, makes blood proteins, etc. Gallbladder, which is the third important accessory digestive organ, which causes concentrate and stores bile. When we see the regulation of digestion, it allows the communication between different parts of digestive tract, ensures the presence of sufficient secretions when food is present, help avoid overabundance of secretion in the absence of food. For this regulation, two types of mechanisms work integratedly: neural and endocrine control. These neural mechanisms and endocrine mechanisms combinedly act and regulate this digestive process in a sophisticated manner, which is one of the most important part. When you see this neural control of digestion, the neural control of digestion is controlled largely by the parasympathetic nervous system and local enteric plexus. Stimuli are mainly thought, sight, taste of the food, distension of GI tract, chemoreceptors detecting nutrients, and pH. The example: thought, chewing, or taste of the food activates parasympathetic system, which resulting in increased release of mucus, HCl, and pepsin in stomach. The goal of this is to prepare the stomach for oncoming or incoming food. When you see the intestinal phase of gastric secretion, due to some G cells extending from antrum into the duodenum. The important aspect of intestinal phase is feedback regulation and inhibition. The intestinal phase of gastric secretion is about 10% of the total. It involves interactions between duodenal contents and duodenal hormones, including their actions on pancreas, liver, gallbladder, and stomach. The functional phases of gastric secretion we already discussed in our previous sessions, which acts via different phases like cephalic phase, gastric phase, and intestinal phase. This diagram shows you this integration in a combined format, that means neural and endocrine integration. When we see the thought of food occurs which acts towards medulla oblongata, vagus integration causes secretion, or vagus integration controls the secretion of HCl at stomach, as well as gastrin works along with it. When we see this endocrine control of the digestion, the endocrine control of digestion, first important hormone is gastrin, which is produced from the stomach G cells. It release increase by the stomach distension, peptides, amino acids, alcohol, caffeine, parasympathetic innervation. The release inhibited by highly acidic pH. The functions are mainly: it increases gastric secretions, primarily HCl. It increases histamine release. It increases gastric motility. It opens pyloric sphincter between the stomach and small intestine, and it relaxes ileocecal sphincter. It stimulates growth of gastric mucosa. These are the number of functions of gastrin. In conclusion, we will just revise this. What are different functions of gastrin? Gastrin increases gastric secretions. Secondly, it increases histamine release. Third, it increases gastric motility. Fourth, it opens pyloric sphincter. Fifth, it relaxes ileocecal sphincter. Sixth, it causes or stimulates gastric mucosa growth, or growth of gastric mucosa. These are the functions concerned with the gastrin. When you see the histamine, it is produced by enterochromaffin-like cells of the stomach. Release is stimulated by gastrin. Action is it increases HCl secretion from parietal cells. How it works at receptor level is seen in this figure. We will explain in the next session how it works and regulates different input output concerned with neural mechanisms of gastrin. When you see the endocrine control of digestion, next is somatostatin, which is produced by D cells of the stomach. The secretion is stimulated by activation of the sympathetic nervous system and by acidic pH, and is inhibited by activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, continuously released, overridden by gastrin and nerves. Its somatostatin actions are mainly inhibit gastrin and histamine secretion. That means it decreases acid release and gastric motility. It also directly inhibits acid release from parietal cells. When you see the next secretin, which is produced by duodenum, crypts of Lieberkühn stimulated by arrival of acidic chyme in duodenum. What are the functions of secretin? It stimulates bicarbonate secretion from pancreas. It inhibits gastric secretion, that means it decreases HCl production by inhibiting gastrin release. It decreases gastric motility, that means slowing the rate of gastric digestion and delivery to the small intestine. It increases hepatic bile production. It increases CCK. It promotes growth and maintenance of the pancreas. These are the basic functions or very important functions of secretin. When you see the next CCK, that is cholecystokinin, it is produced by the enteroendocrine cells of duodenum. Release stimulated by fatty acids in duodenum. What are the functions of cholecystokinin? It causes gallbladder contraction. Bile enters the small intestine. It stimulates release of pancreatic enzymes. It decreases gastric motility and secretion. That means it increases somatostatin release. Now, next is gastric inhibitory peptide, that is GIP. The secretion enteroendocrine cells in the small intestine mucosa, crypts of Lieberkühn. Stimulus is chyme rich in triglycerides, fatty acids and glucose enter the small intestine. The actions of GIP, that means gastric inhibitory peptide, it stimulates release of insulin by beta cells. It inhibits gastric secretion and motility. It stimulates lipogenesis by adipose tissue. It stimulates glucose use by skeletal muscle cells. Next is VIP. Secretion as enteroendocrine cells in small intestine mucosa, that is crypts of Lieberkühn. Stimulus is chyme entering in small intestine. What are its actions? Mainly three. First, it stimulates buffer secretion. Secondly, it inhibits gastric secretion. And third, it dilates intestinal capillary. These are the three important actions of VIP, that means vasoactive intestinal peptide. Now, when we see how does a parietal cell secrete hydrochloric acid, that will be seen in our next presentation. It is very simple. Here CO2 combines with H2O to form H2CO3. H2CO2 splits into hydrogen ion and bicarbonate ion. Hydrogen ion come into the lumen, and simultaneously when hydrogen ion come into the lumen, along with chloride ions also enter into the lumen to maintain it integrity. And H plus these hydrogen ions combines with chloride to form HCl. This is the another how this regulates different cells, that is G cells, parietal cells. The parietal cells secrete HCl. Now when you see this gastrin, the gastrin acts for G cells, ECL cells and parietal cells, while somatostatin controls for these three cells, that is G cell, ECL cell and parietal cells. Cholecystokinin, which is concerned with D cells. This integration we will discuss in our next part. When you see this integration of this neural and endocrine function, how the central effects works here? It's very simple. The central effect, that means thought, taste, smell of the food, chewing, activates parasympathetic nervous system, which released acetylcholine. The acetylcholine acts directly on parietal cell to increase acid secretion. The acetylcholine increases gastrin release, which inhibits somatostatin release. The sympathetic inputs, that is activity, stress, increase somatostatin release and inhibiting gastrin secretion. That means it decreases gastric secretion and motility.